What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I want to discuss a very popular penny stock as of late in the form of Healthier Choice Management, ticker symbol HCMC. Now, I've already made many in-depth videos on this stock in the past, which I'll link in the description below, but today I want to discuss very briefly 5 factors. First of all, we look at the current share price and charts to see how it's performing. We'll then discuss very briefly the hashtag HCMC day that's going around on social media at the moment. We'll then look in terms of their earnings this week and see what we could expect. Fourthly, we'll have a very brief update on their lawsuit. And finally, we'll discuss my plans going forward for this stock. And with all that being said, let's dive right on into today's video. Now, we all know how volatile penny stocks can be, and HCMC is no kind of exception here. It's even more volatile than a lot of penny stocks, mainly because there's a lot of catalysts and factors at play here that are acting as roller coasters for the stock price to go up and down. And there's also a lot of short sellers and pump and dump style schemes, just like you see with a lot of penny stocks. As it stands, HCMC is currently trading at about 0.002215 cent of a share. Now, even on the one-day chart, you can see how volatile this stock can be. It's down nearly 8.5% on the one-day chart. However, if we swing to the 1-week chart, it's up 22.38%. And even on the 1-month chart, it's up 101%, which even for a penny stock is quite bizarre. However, even though the 1-month and 3-month charts look quite promising, if we go to the 1-year chart, we can see here that it had highs of about 0.005, if we go up to the top here, 0.005 of a cent of a share, or even a small bit more. And since then, it's after halving in price, or even more than half in price. But we can see a recovery from as low as here about 0.0011 of a cent a share. It's after going up 100%, as we've seen just there on the 3-month chart. So that's how the stock is currently doing. Now, really, it all depends, like every stock, I suppose, when you actually bought into this. But in HMC in particular, it really will make a huge difference of when you bought in. As you can see, it has huge swings. For example, on the 3-month chart, it's up over 100%, and on the 1-year chart, it's down over 100%. So again, it really does make timing key in this stock in particular. So now we'll have a look at some of the factors that are swinging this price for HCMC. The first of these new short-term catalysts was the hashtag HCMC day, which has been going along a lot of social media platforms. We can see that on May 3rd, the social media was planning on getting investors to invest as little as $100 into the stock, effectively, which would push up the share price. We can see below here that the shares soared on Monday. However, that was long or short-lived, should I say, because even earlier, when we looked at the 1-day chart, we can see that the stock was down 8.5%. You may be wondering why this plan has went ahead, or the HMC day, and basically we can see in the highlighted part here on the left that basically it's been going around hashtag HMC day to get investors to invest $100, and the reason for this was, we can see here, is to squeeze out short sellers and effectively drive up the stock price. We can see on the 1-day chart again that probably backfired as such, as it's currently down 8.5% on the daily chart. As an example, on Twitter, we can see the platform or the social media ploy actually did work quite well in terms of getting numbers to watch. We can see on StockTwits here that viewers jumped up to 90,000, and it was trending as the 3rd biggest news article on Yahoo Finance in terms of trending hashtags. So again, all in all, this HMC day was definitely a success, in particular on the social media side of things. Probably the main reason why I believe this social media ploy can be so powerful is because of the price of the stock. It's easily accessible to anyone of any kind of background, because we can see even here as example, if you spent £87, you get 50,000 shares of HCMC, which is ridiculous. Or if you spend £1,743, you get a whopping 1 million shares of HCMC. So again, this is the power of the current price of this stock that, well, obviously is the main reason why it's so volatile as well. But again, any investor can invest in this stock. That's why it has a lot of potential. Now, obviously, when I say it has potential, it's probably more short-term potential and definitely maybe a day or swing trading aspects. I probably wouldn't recommend this stock as a long-term investment personally. Now, a lot of people might differ with that. But again, the reason I believe it's not a long-term play is because of the fundamentals. We can see, for example, another penny stock I currently look at is High Tide, HITIF is a ticker. And you can see how many catalysts and fundamentals that has going forward, all in positive. Where for HMC as an example, it's kind of mainly around the infringement, or the kind of the infringement with Philip Morris, should I say, in terms of the patents on the vape, which we'll go into later on. But again, as a short-term play, HCMC could be a good buy. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, so you need to do your own due diligence going forward, especially when investing any of your hard-earned capital. So again, that's just my own personal opinion on the stock at the present moment. In my opinion, probably the two biggest catalysts at this present moment is firstly their earnings report, which is actually coming out today, Wednesday. Now I might do a follow-up video on that over the next day or so. Again, once the earnings report comes out and I can kind of analyze it. Now that's going to have a big impact on the share price. Probably not as much as a normal earnings report would do for a normal company. For example, just as Apple as an example, if they had an earnings report and it was very well or very poorly, obviously the stock would react accordingly. However, with HCMC, I think a lot of people are going to disregard the earnings report, mainly because they aren't invested in the fundamentals. They're invested in the lawsuit or the patent infringement with Philip Morris currently with the vape, which we'll discuss in a few seconds. But again, I don't think the earnings report results here are going to impact a lot of investors' kind of decisions, as probably 80 to 90% of investors are just solely invested in the stock because of the lawsuit, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. Again, you can make money from that as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how the stock's going to react with this earnings report results. Obviously as well, going back to the HCMC day, it didn't have as much as a negative impact as I thought it did. For example, we can see here, the price went up to 0.003 cent of a share. Obviously, since then it has consolidated down, but it is still up on the 1 week chart nonetheless, up 22.38% and currently trading at 0.002215 cent a share. So I'm very interested to see now, once the earnings report come out and analysts do their own due diligence and stock investors actually decide if they're buying or selling the stock, which direction the stock price is going to go. Is it going to come back up to where it was earlier this week, or is it going to drop down to where it was at the end of last week? And when we're talking about the lawsuit as well, obviously the main kind of factor here is the lawsuit with Philip Morris and the patent infringements with the vape. Now there hasn't been any kind of updates since my last video last week. So again, we're just kind of waiting to see the outcome here, but this will certainly be of huge benefit or kind of disadvantage to the stock, depending on the outcome. Now I've mentioned in prior videos as well, there's three outcomes here, the two obvious ones being HCMC winning or losing the lawsuit, and the third option is Philip Morris actually buying out HCMC, which again would be positive for the stock price. But I do feel either way, for example, even if they win this lawsuit and the share price does go up, a lot of people are going to sell as quickly as they can to take their profit. So either way, I do believe long term that the stock price is going to go down again, even if they win the patent. And obviously, if they don't win the lawsuit as well, it's going to have negative impact to the stock, as a lot of people will start dumping out of the stock. So again, you could look at it either way. If you're a short seller, it could be a big opportunity. If you're a long-term seller, it could be risky, or I could be wrong as well. Who says I'm right? So it's going to be interesting to see how this lawsuit, again, there's no update as of late, but over the next few weeks, there's certainly going to be some updates that's going to be huge for the stock price going forward. So that's pretty much it for today's video. I just wanted to give a very brief update on their current share price, and we had a very brief look at the charts for the stock. We then had a brief discussion on the HCMC day on social media and how that impacted the share price over the last day or so. We then discussed very briefly the earnings and how it's coming out today. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes for the stock, and I'll make an updated video for that as well. We then had a very brief update on the lawsuit. Again, there hasn't been much of an update since last week, but we still had a look nonetheless. So if you thought today's video was anyway beneficial, it'd be much appreciated if you could smash that like button. And if you're new around here, I'd be much appreciated if you consider subscribing to the channel. I'd also be very interested to know in the comment section below your thoughts and opinions on HCMC. If you are buying, selling or holding the stock, I'd be very interested to know. Thanks very much, enjoy Wednesday, and I will see y'all in tomorrow's video.